Okay, so welcome to another update on Blackboard and setting this up for your students real quick and what the minimum things are in order to set it up. So number one, this is your Blackboard home screen. It may look a little bit different than the one that you currently see, but the part that is important is here in the middle where it says My Courses. Now, if you have used Blackboard in the past, you might see a whole bunch of courses down here, and you may want to not see them at all. There's a few ways that can get rid of them. The most common way is to click the gear and basically see a class that you don't want to show up anymore and click this box twice. And then you will see all of these boxes disappear. And so it won't show up in your view. So if you have other courses that you don't want to see, you just want to see this year's, that's one way for them just to show up into your courses menu here. All right, so I am going to go and take a course. That'll be this one to start up. And I'm going to show you how to create an announcement, how to make the course available, add content, and all of that good stuff. So the first thing that you see is you see a different group of buttons. It'll take you to the announcements page by default. And you want to make sure, as you can see, that your sections are open to observers or visible to observers. Those are your parents. You'll know that they are because you have the option to deny them. So if you have that option to deny observers, that means that it's set for it to be visible. So if I took this and I went to deny, and then I went back to it, see where it says permit. So it's already set for most of these things by default. You'll notice that some of these buttons has this little box in it. And what that means is that it's a created button or area for your class, but until there's something in there, it won't actually show on the student menu. So that's what that means. So when you're in Blackboard and you want to create announcements, you want to make sure you click the announcement button and you go to create announcement. So you'll see a subject and you need it. So maybe your subject is welcome to class. That's your subject. And then your announcement text would go here. Maybe you want to include a link. Well, if you want to do that, you're going to highlight the text that you want to make a link, and you're going to click this link button. It'll give you this pop-up, and this is where your link will go. You can also link it to other parts of your class by clicking Browse Course, and it'll take you, if you had anything else that you want your link to go to, maybe a specific area in your class or whatever. But if you want it to be a web link, do that. The target, you can switch to open a new window, so that when somebody, a parent or a student, clicks on that link, they'll go to a new window with it, as opposed to leaving your Blackboard to visit that link. So then once you have your link set, then you go to Insert, and you're good to go. You may not see all of these options, by the way. You may need to click on these set of double arrows here to expand it to see basically the wide view. As far as announcements and when you want them up, you can do not date restricted. And so what not date restricted will do is it'll post an announcement and it'll just stay on your Blackboard until you either delete it yourself or edit it and change that. You can also date restrict them, which means that you can set your announcement to display after a certain day or time. So maybe you don't want an announcement in Blackboard to be visible until the next day for students for whatever reason. You could set it that way, and then you can set for how long it goes. You don't have to set an end date, but you do have the option. So once you do, after it reaches that endpoint, the announcement will disappear off of the student's view. You actually can still see it and reuse it. Another interesting feature on Blackboard is to send a copy of this announcement immediately. And so what this will do is this will email it out to not just students, but also to parents. So any parent that's registered with ParentView on Blackboard in your class will get a copy of this announcement. So it does say that students are still notified. So students will see this get sent to them when you post this on Blackboard. Course link. So if there's a specific item that you do want to link to that's also in your Blackboard class. So maybe you want it to go to your syllabus folder for some reason, be like, look at the syllabus of class. It'll set it to go there. And then when you're ready to submit your announcement, you'll go to submit. So when you're giving an introductory announcement and welcoming students into your class, you would put it in here. You can also adjust the font. There are different fonts available to you. You can adjust the size. So if you want to make it big, if you want to put it in some fancier font or something else that you prefer, you can do that. The T button will change the color, so you can make it whatever color you want. You can underline and bold. So those are just some of the options that you have available. If you want to add highlighting to it, you can do that as well, and then it'll be highlighted. If you want to change that highlight color, you can drop down. Maybe you want to make it yellow. So it's your call. This is looking very Lewisy in our blue and gold here. But you can do whatever you need for announcements. The other thing you can do is if you want to embed something. So when I did the Google Calendar and you have that link for Google Calendar, that embed code, that would go in the HTML code view. And then you would paste it in here and go to update. So that's basics for an announcement. All right, so something else that you would want to do in Blackboard is you might want to put your staff information. So under staff in the staff information button, you can go to create contact. And now you can put all of your important information here. So this would be me. And an email address for you. If you want to put a work phone number, as in your office phone number, that can go there too. And then if you want to set your office hours, like the times there, it'll show up, and any kind of notes that you want to give for students. And you can also upload an image. So you can attach an image there. And if you have a personal link, so if you have like a other feed for the class, maybe a professional Twitter feed, something like that, you can attach that there. And it will put that there. I think and you have to also make sure that your profile is set to available. That's why it said it wasn't visible. So now when students log in, they can see that's your contact information. So it's good to have that there. Now these things are all editable. So it might give you these to begin with, but these are all what they would call content areas. So they're really just blank folders. So if you want to change syllabus and make it something else, you can always rename the link. So maybe instead of syllabus, you call it course information. And then you hit the little plus check sign there, and you're good to go. Most of the things that you'll do in Blackboard for now just involve building content. So if you want to upload your syllabus, you actually can do it as an item. I know you do have the option to add just raw files. But what I do like about adding an item is that you can give it a description. So most of the time if you just use upload, like the straight upload, like a file, you might not have this available to you. And then of course you can attach the files and permit users to view. Yes. You can also, with any items, set date and time restrictions. So if you want something to be removed off your Blackboard in a certain period of time, you can do that as well. So again, if you're putting things on Blackboard, such as notes or PowerPoints or things like that, that's how you would do that. It was through the build content and then create item. When you are ready, you can make your course available, and that is through the customization option. And it is customization and properties. So you can change the course name here. So if I want to change this, now most of the time your period will be over here. So if I say I changed it to my name, the class name, and all that good stuff. All right. Most of the other stuff that you want to change, the only big thing is make course available, and you want to go to yes. Everything else is pretty good on here, and so you would go to submit, and now it's ready to go. If you wanted to be super fancy with your Blackboard class, you can change teaching style. So what this will do is it'll give you first the entry point. So let's say you don't want announcements to be the first thing that students see for some reason. I don't know why, but you can change that to a different folder that's available for them. If you want to change the color or look of your buttons, that would be under menu style. So you can change it to text, and text just makes it look like this. And you can change your colors. You can also look at the button library and make it either solids or give it a pattern, or even make it got some bit of stripe in there, give a little bit of color. So perhaps for whatever reason, blue and orange look good to me. All right, so now that's what my buttons look like. So you can change it that way. And you can also use this to add a header. So if you want to change a banner, you want to change the look of your front of your class, you can attach a banner here. All right, so now I went and changed my button color. Looks pretty good. So now our class is ready to go. We have it available. We've changed its name. So now the name looks like this. For your sake, you might actually want to put the period first so that you can see it in your classes easier. So be period 1 and your name and then the name of the class. So I'll change that in the properties on this one. The only reason why I say that is because you can now see the period. They want to put dashes between. So when your students log into it, they can see the period number and then the teacher name and then the name of the class. Ready and good. All right. I thought I changed that. Okay, so you'll notice that the name of the class is over here now. mostly because your order is in alphabetical order. So all the courses where the names are numbers are listed first. Okay, so let's say now I don't need all 5 of these Blackboard classes. I just really want one. So let's say I want this to be the only Blackboard that I go to. So if I'm just going to make one Blackboard, I might change that name again under customization and properties. And really, I'm just going to get rid of the period and go to submit. So now I do have these other Blackboard classes here, right? And if you want to combine the rosters, you can click into this class, and there's a function called packages and utilities. And under packages and utilities, there's course copy. And you want to copy course materials into existing course. Great. Destination course ID. So where do you want these students to go? So I'm going to go to browse. It'll bring up my classes. And I'm going to select my computer assistance class. Go to submit. So the thing that you do want to add in there, they do recommend glossary. Like there's something that needs to get copied over into that class, and glossary is just not going to do anything for you. The big thing that you want to do is to include enrollments in the copy. And then you go to submit. The one caveat I'll tell you is that when you start combining classes in Blackboard, when new students are added into your classes, you may have to manually add them because it will break that link with SIS. So if a student was supposed to be into my 5th period class, but I'm combining all of my students into 1st period, they're not going to get added into that 1st period Blackboard class that now contains all of my students. So you may have to manually add them. So adding students or even another teacher into your class, because you can also combine Blackboards into another teacher's roster. So if you're team teaching, you're going to want to make sure that you add each other as a teacher. So you go to users and groups, and you're going to go to start with users. And you're going to go to find user to enroll. And you're going to either browse and then look up the username. So username is always going to be the FCPS ID. So you're going to find it, or you can even search by last name. So if I was, let's say, going to add, say, Mr. Pickett as a quote unquote co-teacher with computer assistance, that sounds like a good idea. At least in Blackboard, I would check the name and go to submit. And then now you can't add them immediately as a teacher. It's some weird Blackboard quirk. So you would add them as a student. And then you would click on their little down arrow here and go to change user's role in the course. And you would make them an instructor. Submit. All right, so now I've added a co-teacher into my Blackboard class. So if you're combining student rosters, when both teachers are made instructors in each other's classes, then when you're combining those rosters, each teacher's classes can show up as a destination for your combined roster. So you just have to work it out amongst your team teachers, like which Blackboard class you're going to use to be sort of the master class. And as I mentioned earlier, you will want to add new students into your classes manually if you have to. So for students, you would add the same thing. You would do the same thing. You would just go to find users to enroll, and the username for students is their student ID number. You can browse for them if you wish to look for them by name, but you can even just type in their user ID number here and go to submit, and then it'll give you a little banner up top that says student successfully added to your class. So That is how you add students and combine rosters and get announcements done, as well as make your class available. Right, because that's when you see course unavailable to students. That's what that means. So this particular class, because one of my other ones, is not yet set to be available. So I believe that's it as far as Blackboard basics go. I hope this little tutorial video was useful for you and that you're able to set up your Blackboard classes successfully. But shoot me an email or see me during office hours if you have any other questions about this. But thanks for watching.